Hello, beautiful, and welcome back to another episode of Beautiful I Am Colored. No, there was no show last week, which I did post on my social media outlets, because honestly, I had some things on my mind, and that were weighing pretty heavily on me. Lots of things, actually. And today I decided that I would share a few of those things or topics with you, so that you can gain a better understanding of kind of like how my mind works. But before I cascade into the several bullet points that I want to share with you about what has been on my mind lately, I am going to start, as always, with shout outs and thank yous. For those of you who are new here, my name is Evelyn, and I am the creator of this podcast, as well as the author of the book titled Beautiful I Am Colored. And I come each week, most times, to share insights and perspectives that I've gained from my week in a hope of bringing you a sense of hope and healing. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into this week's shout outs and thank yous. The first shout out and thank you, and you guys know I shout out a person, place, thing, or idea. So the first shout out and thank you goes to Billy Blanks' Tae Bo workouts. Okay, I'll repeat it because you might have missed it. Billy Blanks' Tae Bo workout. Let me tell you why. So I work out routinely 5 to 6 days a week. I was going to my gym and, working on lifting and stuff, but since my city decided to cut the hours at the gym as well as the city budget to try to find dollars for other things, I have not been able to utilize my gym membership like how I was initially, because my gym used to open at 7 a.m. and now it opens at 9. And of course, I'm already working by then. So you might be saying, well, Evelyn, you could just go in the afternoon. No, I don't want to go in the afternoon. I like to work out before I start work, to start my day. I have a rhythm and a pattern that, I deal with. And anyhow, that's neither here nor there. So to subsidize me not having access to the gym right now due to my schedule, I have been doing either outdoors when it's warm enough, walking / jogging, minimally, or I do a video more times than not on YouTube. And I've been doing, the cute little girls that's on the YouTube. I don't mean that disrespectfully when I say little girls, but I do mean like literally, like they're little people, like they are small. And so I watch the little girls on YouTube, and don't get me wrong, I've been getting some really great workouts with them, the hour-long segments on, like, for example, Grow with Joe, who is very popular on social media. You got your little water breaks in between, it really just truly is variations of walking and arm movements, not hard to keep up with. And so I decided this week I needed a change up, so I said, let me see if I can go run by that Billy Blanks on YouTube. And sure enough, there it was. By the way, I'm going to link that video if you are interested at all. I'm going to link that video for you so you can go check out what I mean. So you think you're in shape. And from an endurance standpoint, I can say cardio-wise, I am in great shape. I don't get out of breath. I can go pretty hard on cardio, dance, fitness stuff. But let me tell you something about Billy Blanks. What warm up? Like, as soon as the video comes on, it fades into high speed, already into it. Like, what warm up? It was an hour long. There's no water break. He doesn't say get water. I didn't hear him say, like, catch your breath. And I was thinking to myself in that moment, I actually told Marlon afterwards, I was like, after doing the Billy Blanks video, I was like, man, we have kind of become weak as a society. Like, quite literally weak, meaning we cannot take the things that we used to do. Like, the things that we used to do as human beings in this country were a lot harder than they are now. And some kind of way, we've got on this easy road to where we want to skip the hard stuff and make everything easy. And I'm just wondering, and it's just a question that I'm asking myself, really. It's just a question. No criticism here. But it's just a question. Have we come so far and evolved so far that we are skipping over the very things that make us produce and be the top performers that we used to be as a country? And Billy Blanks made me think about that this week. The second shout out and thank you goes to family. So we have family in town this week, and it has been awesome to see my mother and father-in-law. Anytime they come, it's always a blast to sit and talk to them. laugh with them. It's been a pleasure to see them this week, so I'm grateful for them as well. Okay. Barnes family, I love you. All right, so let's get right on into what's been on my mind lately. And this is in no particular order, but again, I just wanted to share some insight with you for this week. So the first thing is, and it's like I said, in no particular order from this past week. I like to win. I like to win at work. I like to win if I'm doing something in community. I like to win. I'm very competitive. I'm a quiet competitor, but I am very competitive. And you probably recall that one of my favorite all-time games to play, usually with Marlon, is Scrabble, okay? So we sitting down at the table playing the Scrabble game the other day. And let me just say, because I already know I'm gonna hear from him, and I don't want to hear his mouth on this. So let me just say right now, for the past several games, he has been winning. For the most part, he's been winning. It's been very close games. Like one game was like within 1 point of each other, but he's been winning. So I wanted a rematch, of course, right? Because like I said, I like to win. So we're sitting there playing the Scrabble game. And everybody knows triple word scores, all of the tile placements on the board. Some are blank, so you can't get bonus points associated with your score. But if you some kind of way can land on a double letter and a triple word, or a triple letter and a triple word, like if you can land on the premium spaces, your points are multiplied, right, to give you a bigger number. So I was so proud. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe he left the triple word score open at the bottom right. So I placed my word down. SEIGED. I'm like, okay, I think it was like 37 points. I'm like, yes, okay, this is good. Well, I'm getting started really powerfully. And I sat there for a minute. And as soon as I put it down, y'all, I said, oh my God, I think it's I before E except after C. Now, some of you new people ain't gonna know what I'm talking about, but if you're in your 40s, you know that they taught us really well in school. I think sometimes they taught us a little bit better. And it's a rule in spelling, right? Where you never put the E before the I when a word includes it, right? And there's only one exception to that rule, and that is when you have a C that precedes it. So in other words, sieged, which is a word, I just misspelled it, should have been spelled SIEGED, not SEI. Listen, Marlon put my points down, and I was like, okay, but the word wasn't looking right to me. And then he keeps looking at the word, and he's like, challenge. So in Scrabble, if your opponent puts down a word that you don't think is actually a word, or if it's spelled wrong or something, you can challenge it. So he did, and we have an official Scrabble dictionary that we use for the game. He looked it up, and of course my word was not in there because it was misspelled, and I lost my points. And the rest, as they say, is history because I sucked at that game. And it was really, really bothering me. Like, how in the world could I forget that rule from elementary school? But there you have it. The second thing I've been thinking about this week is safety and preparedness. And yes, sure, social media is a contributing factor to why my mind has been thinking about this lately. And I just wondered, do you and your family, do you have like an emergency plan? Like, I'm not talking about like, at school and they call it, well, that too. But I'm talking about something like more extensive. Like if we, had an emergency of sorts in this country and the phones were down and, the stuff just wasn't working right. Do you have like emergency supplies and stuff? I can tell you that during the pandemic, there were a lot of what they call preppers talking about how to prepare for things. And, I tuned into quite a bit of them and took their advice on a few things. And so while I am not necessarily a prepper, I probably have more things tucked away than most people in this country. And want to encourage you to that. If you have not thought about that with your family, maybe look to doing it. It's a lot of good tips out there on YouTube and the web. And it might just be a good time to look into it. And I'm going to leave that right there. The other thing I've been thinking a lot about lately because of the political climate that we're in right now, and I can't talk too much about politics, so I'm going to skate this line very, 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 very close. And this is just for academic purposes. I was curious, so I kind of did a little bit of research. And the next topic is I was wondering about democracy. Because lately I had been hearing, what seems to be a certain group's talking point is that, we have to save our democracy. We have to save our democracy. I've heard this multiple times now. And it got me to thinking. And so I looked it up and I was like, but aren't we a republic? Like in the Pledge of Allegiance, don't it say republic? And in fact, I had to look it up. And I do know the Pledge of Allegiance by heart, but I had to look it up just to make sure. And I looked it up and sure enough, it says that, to the republic for which it stands when you pledge allegiance. And the republic is capitalized, which made me think, who is the republic, right? Who is the republic that we're standing on as American citizens? And so I did a little bit of a dive, and don't worry, I'll put the reference links, because I'm not pulling things from my anal cavity. I'll put the reference links in today's video. But I wanted to share a couple of definitions with you. So pardon me as I go down a short academic lane. Republic, defined. A state in which supreme power is held by the people and their elected representatives, and which has an elected or nominated president rather than a monarch. A democracy is defined as a system of government by the whole population or all the eligible members of a state, typically through elected representatives. And I honestly, frankly, I'm just gonna keep it real with you. Y'all know I got 3 degrees, 2 of which are advanced degrees. And I was like, this is kind of still not registering to me at a deep enough level. So I did a little bit more digging. And I needed it in simplistic terms. So even though I'm book smart and academic smart, I really do need that just lay terminology to help me comprehend sometimes. So I found a site, and I thought this was a great breakdown of it. And here's the distinction. A republic and a democracy are identical in every aspect except one. In a republic, the sovereignty is in each individual person. In a democracy, the sovereignty is within the group. And so then I said, but most people don't know what sovereign is. I mean, I know it has something to do with power. So, of course, I had to look up sovereign. And sovereign defined is a power to act or done independently and without outside interference. Beg your pardon. I had a little typo on my little cheat sheet here. Let me just restate that quickly. Sovereign is defined as acting or doing something independently and without outside interference. So you have the power to do that without outside interference. And it just got me to thinking about this new tagline that keeps coming up about we need to save our democracy, when in fact we are a republic. And that little distinction there makes all the world of difference. And it's why I would encourage you to not just listen to everything that you hear, but be a steward over the words you hear and do your own research. And that goes for anybody. Don't take my word for it. Don't take anybody's word for it. Do your own research and come to your own conclusions. After all, you are a member of the republic and you do have sovereignty. Oh, that was awesome. At least I thought so. Okay. Other thing I've been thinking about over the past week or so is social media looping and or programming. And so I don't know if you know this, but social media addiction is actually a real thing. Like I had to look this up, right? Goes back to me saying how I'm thinking this thing, but is it a real thing, right? So I went to addictioncenter.com and social media is truly like at the top of the page there. Again, I'll link this for you. Social media addiction is a behavioral addiction that is defined by being overly concerned about social media, driven by an uncontrollable urge to log on to or use social media, and devoting so much time and effort to social media that it impairs other important life areas. And I said to myself, wow. And I say that because like on my social media, because I have the YouTube premium, I've said this to y'all before. I don't like commercials and interruptions and ads and stuff. So I will pay extra so I don't have to see extra. You feel what I'm saying? But I noticed on my social media, like based on who I'm subscribed to and stuff on my YouTube subscription, that it just will keep populating like the exact same videos and never show me really anything new. And it's a way of programming, right? Because it just reinforces what's already there rather than share with you the plethora of other ideas, thoughts, and perspectives. So I share that with you to say, be careful, right, on social media, because one, yes, it does have addictive qualities that has been proven. And again, I'll put the link from the Addiction Center in the description for this week's episode. But be careful. And while I'm on that topic, I wanted to just give you a heads up that I have been intentional about not logging into social media. Usually I will post, positive affirmations, encouraging words on my social media. And sometimes I can do it before work and then it be done. But lately I'm feeling like whatever they're doing right now, and I'm not trying to be conspiratorial at all, it's just what it is. Whatever they're doing right now seems to be ramped up, because I can sense it and feel it. And I don't want to be a part of being ramped up and pulled into being on my phone more often. So I've made a conscious decision that I am going to step away from social media for the next several weeks. I'll still be posting my podcast here. And sure, that might mean that I have a reduction in listeners, but it's okay. Right now, I'm not making any money off this. So I'll keep doing what I'm doing for as far as my podcast. But I think I want a mental break from social media. So I'm going to put my pages on pause. And just focus on some other things in real life. Yeah, and I'm gonna leave that there. The final thing, which is kind of aligned with the social media looping programming and addiction that I've been thinking about a lot lately, is spiritual warfare. For those of you who may not know, I talk about all kinds of things on here that have to do with spirit, mind, soul, and body. And this particular thing is not touched on very often anymore. I learned, of course, about spiritual warfare being a Christian and growing up in church. So I'm very well acquainted with what that looks like. I also know when there is a heavy season of spiritual warfare. But I'll try to explain it to you in simplistic terms. It really truly is like the unseen realm, if you will. Like it's kind of like a force, a presence. You can't see it with your eye. But if you are a sensing person or a discerning person, you can pick up on certain things that are there, but, they're invisible to the naked eye. And these things come up a lot of times when, and you can distinguish between when you're going through this and when you're just going through, let's say, just a simple rut. Because the things that usually work for you to pull you out of a space, and y'all know I've shared this with you, whether it's like, your workouts, y'all know I listen to gospel music kind of most days to get my day started. I surround myself by like-minded people, but all those things and those tools that I have in place, they're just like, I'm not feeling like I'm making any headway. Then I know that I'm in a season where it's going to be more internal work than what I have done previously in order to get me through. And so that had me thinking, because I was wondering if other people, were feeling the same way, particularly the past 2 weeks. Today is Sunday, March 24th. And I really particularly feel the past 2 weeks there has been a strong increase in just the pressure. Like there's pressure. Not a person doing something to you, but there is pressure that has been very prevalent. And I was just curious and wondering if other people were feeling similar pressures or not. But those are some of the things that I have been thinking about. I have been talking to you already for 19 minutes and 5 seconds. And I like to keep these quick most times. But let me close this week by saying this. Sometimes, we quiet the voice that kind of leads us and guides us to the next step. We quiet it, whether we sometimes are knowingly quieting it or not. We do that, and it puts us kind of in harm's way. And so I wanted to take this as a time to remind you to please be mindful when you hear the still small voice, because I feel that in the coming weeks, months, and potentially years ahead, that we are definitely going to need to rely on that as our compass than any other source to lead and guide us. So I want to end too by saying that I have been praying a lot lately. Like this year has been, I've been praying more than I ever have in a long time. And there is a reason for that. Reason for that. And I know, and certain people are called to do certain things. And so you have to do what you know to do. And I just want to encourage you to, no matter what anybody else says, what's important for you to know is what you're hearing and what's leading and guiding you. And so I pray that you have strength for this week, no matter what lies ahead and the weeks to come. And always remember that the future you is waiting only on you. You have to be the one in charge of the work to get you to the next version of yourself. I hope everyone has a great week. I know that I plan to be intentional about doing so. And until next week, have a great day. Take care of yourselves. And for those of us in Denver, looks like we got some more snow. So hope you're staying warm wherever you are. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great week.